What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Coinist Podcast. I'm your host, Luke. We're going to be talking with top hedge funds, venture capital firms, your favorite analysts, the biggest exchanges, everything you need to know if you're investing in Bitcoin, crypto, all that. Hopefully give you some insight, maybe just hear some epic stories. Today I'm joined by Haas Online, an automated trading platform, one of the most used automated trading platforms in the entire industry, both from hedge funds and from individual traders. And I know there's a ton of interest growing for these automated trading strategies. Right? There's bots on Twitter that have 10, 20,000 followers. And for people that want to learn what that even means, what an algorithm and a bot and all that type of stuff, how it works, how you could get one set up, I thought that'd be cool. But also we dive into some specific strategies and some deeper stuff as well. So if you're already involved, I think this will provide value as well. They're also a Bitcoin company, meaning they get paid in Bitcoin, they pay all their employees in Bitcoin. Fascinating story about how they've made that work. Been around since 14, really excited to speak with them. I think you guys are going to enjoy this one. Also, this week's episode is kind of special. It's Thanksgiving, so hopefully everyone's having a good Thanksgiving. If not, enjoy your weekends anyways. And Bitcoin's actually turned around as well. So we have a little bit of life. It's Thanksgiving. We got a good episode, so kick back, enjoy it. Maybe you're watching some football. You can watch this at halftime. Anyways, appreciate all you guys for tuning in. Remember to hit subscribe, like, comment, leave me a rating on iTunes if you're feeling extra generous. I'll be thankful for that, and enjoy the show. Before we get into things, one quick message from my amazing sponsor, and that's Bybit Exchange. If you are not trading on Bybit yet, they have a massive trading competition going on. So there's a chance for you, especially if you trade with a group of friends or a team of traders, to make a ton of Bitcoin. I think it's almost 100 Bitcoin up for grabs. It's not based on how much Bitcoin you make. It's based on P&L percentage. So it's fair based on how much you have in your account. So check out Bybit Exchange, bybit.com, or go to trading.bybit.com/venturecoinist. Use my link right down below this video. You get a free $50. Check them out. Check out that trading competition. They're giving away a ton of Bitcoin. And next week, I'm going to be in Singapore, a little behind the scenes look at that operation. Earlier in the year, I talked with CZ and Arthur Hayes looking at Binance and BitMEX. Next week, I'm going to be talking to Bybit. So I think everyone is going to enjoy that. So check them out. If you're not using them already, highly recommend it. Right down there on the link. Bybit, thanks for sponsoring the show. Now let's get right into it, guys. I don't want to waste any more time. Enjoy your Thanksgiving, enjoy your weekends, and enjoy the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time!
You are listening to the Coinist Podcast.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Coinist Podcast. I am joined by Ronaldo of Haas Online. You guys might know them. I think they're actually called HaasBot on Twitter. A automated trading solution company, which I'm seeing more and more of in the crypto space. Ronaldo, what's going on? We've tried to do this for a long time. Thanks for coming on, man.
No, thanks for having me, man. It has been a bit, but we're finally here. We finally have the schedules that lined up.
Exactly. We're finally here. You know, that happens in the podcast world. I'll set out, I'll say the interview has to happen here, and then weeks go by and whatever it is. We're finally here. We're doing it. What's the origin story of Haas? So people get a little bit of background here. I'm familiar with the company, and I know that Bitcoiners and maybe some people that have been trading for a while in the crypto industry are familiar. But for those that don't know what Haas Online is, what's a bit of background?
Yeah, sure. So just real quick, Haas Online is an automated trading platform. We say a platform because it's not just bots, it's dashboards, the works, portfolio management. It's really everything someone would need to manage not only the crypto portfolios, but automate their trading as well. So you wanted background. So really, Haas started by two brothers, Stephen de Haas and Quintus de Haas, and they wanted to build some automated trading for themselves. And what ended up happening was when you're really early, they did this in 2014, and you're the only one on the market. You tend to be the best one because you're the only one there. So they started building it for other people to use, and then as iterations grew, we eventually ended up to where we are now. So from 2014, we survived most of the ups and downs, or should I say all of them. We're still here, right?
Yeah.
And, still now we're still growing. The company is growing in team size. We're at about 14, 15 people. That includes developers, marketing, so on and so forth. And, we're here around, still 2019, still kicking and looking forward to 2020.
Still alive, just like Bitcoin's still alive. One of the things that's hilarious, besides the Bitcoin is dead articles, is, well, I guess it was more of a wake-up thing. It's not so funny. Was a lot of crypto companies through cycles struggle to make it through some of those bear and bull cycles. And 2018 was a pretty brutal cycle for a lot of investors and for companies. Does your business just completely go away? I mean, how have you survived in the bear market? Is it because your customers are just that loyal, or what is it?
So it really comes down to feature set. I think what a lot of people don't understand is there's like two really kind of classes of these type of automated software. There's one that focus primarily on the retail market, and then there's our software where it's generally the investors, the hedge funds that really run our software, and that's really the core of our business. Is those larger traders, those larger institutions that need the software to manage their $1 million funds. And really, when you have enough of those partnerships and relationships surviving this bear market, it tends to, we still take a hit, right? We have a lot of retail customers, and hopefully no one's taking offense to me saying retail versus institution.
No, not
right?
at all.
I come from a traditional market background, so we do have down months. I mean, we're like anybody else. We're subject to Bitcoin's volatility. For those who don't know, the entire company operates in Bitcoin. Everybody's salary is paid in it. So, and we hold it, we maintain it, we trade it internally. So basically, has Bitcoin swinging, our value of our company is also swinging, and payouts, et cetera. So we're really, Haas Online's all in the cryptocurrency space. And we have down months, like anybody else. There might have been a month or two where we were red and we're like, oh, well, it happens. But generally, we're still maintaining profitability. And like I said, we're still growing the company and, having new features come out, which I think we'll hit on here in a little bit.
For sure. So your company is even more focused on Bitcoin than I thought. I knew that a lot of you were Bitcoiners, and I knew that you haven't chose to go down the token route. We had a laugh right before the call of there's been a lot of companies which have started up and tried to do what Haas does, but have tried to include a token, and they've kind of faded out or fizzled out. You've been getting paid in Bitcoin. The company holds their Bitcoin, hasn't gone the token route. Has the subject of, let's create a token ever come up, or you guys never had that problem because the Bitcoin holdings from 2014 did so well? What was the decision? Was it more of first principle, we don't want to go down that route, or was it we just don't need to fundraise?
So one of the key things that Stefan, he's the CEO, co-founder with Quintus. Yeah. His biggest thing is he didn't want to run a token. He wants to own 100% of the company, he wants the company to hold 100% of its assets. It doesn't want external investment. We've been people have messaged us about it, saying, hey, can we invest in Haas? And really, it comes down to is that one, we don't really need it. We're fully functioning. We're profitable as we are. And two, the token route. Well, yes, we could probably run a token and make XYZ amount of money in investment. Though the reality of the fact is we just don't need it. We find pride that we are bootstrapped from the beginning, and that we continue to be that way moving forward.
Yeah, you've been around for a while as well. I said 2014. That's when the company, I think Steven and them started it. Have the one thing that always stands out from 2014, and I'm always curious to learn more about it, was this Willy bot, and it kind of goes hand in hand. You guys run automated trading systems. Willy bot, for those that are unfamiliar that are listening, was the algorithmic system on Mt. Gox that eventually acquired 20,000 Bitcoin. I think it almost got up to 250,000 Bitcoin, something ridiculous. Were you familiar with the Willy bot?
Yes, I am. Yeah. So just really quick, just to make sure it's in the podcast. I joined Haas in 2017.
Okay.
So I wasn't around for the 2014, but yes, I am vaguely familiar, shall we say, with Willy bot and how it operated, et cetera.
Yeah, there's been, even lately there was like some bot malfunctions. I think bots, in some ways, either get the blame put on them. Maybe with the Willy bot, it was appropriate. But lately there was also one with Deribit. There's kind of an index that went a little bit crazy, and then that caused kind of a market crash. Bots get a lot of that hate. It's funny. Has Haas ever run into that? Has there ever been an issue where it's like, oh gosh, our systems caused that and the market crashed?
Yeah. No, of course. There is, every bit of software has its problems, right? Nothing's foolproof. Nothing's 100%. And, one of the things that we drive to do, and I'm hoping I'm not sounding like a sales pitch here, is, we try to make sure they're addressed immediately. If something that occurs that we didn't find in testing, a hot patch is coming out, within the next few hours, if possible, or the next day. In terms of the markets in general, we find that what most traders don't understand is a large portion, I can throw out some fake percentage if you want, but I'd say the majority of trades that occur is coming from bots, whether it's, using technical indicators to do it, arbitrage, market making, et cetera. Most of the volume you see on these exchanges is all from bots. Now, while some bots do have problems, or they rapid fire sell on exchange, causing indexes to go off, or whether you believe that's intentional, whatever the case is, yes, it is unfortunate. The truth is that certain bots, if they're handling a large amount of money and they malfunction or something happens and they cause a market crash, that's just the nature of the beast. That's a risk that is associated with running automated trading strategies.
Sure. Gosh, yeah, who was I speaking with? It was Sam of Alameda Research. I think they do over $1 billion in volume some days. And I was asking him, how do you manage all this? Obviously, it's not you sitting there and clicking buy and sell in front of this. And he said, well, there's a lot of manual input. But a lot of the execution is we kind of toggle things, and then the algorithms or the bots will actually execute for us. They do all the heavy lifting. We kind of set them on the right direction. You said a lot of your clients are institutional as well. I was a little bit surprised by that, because how I originally heard about you was someone on Twitter. It was Romano,
Yeah.
And he was talking about market making on some altcoins or doing this with some altcoins. But what is the split there? I mean, how many hedge funds have come? I'm sure it's more now as the space has become more financialized. But what's the split right now? Is it more retail coming to you, more individual traders, or is it more hedge funds?
So yeah, we can actually say that in terms of the hedge funds, most of our client base that's stuck through us with this have been the hedge fund institution, and we've really been making the drive more towards attracting the retail, right? There's a lot more retail traders within the crypto space than there is the institutions, and if the institution hasn't already came to us and they're established, then they're using someone else or they've built their own. So. Yeah. The available market space is thin, right? Either they went with you or they have it, and acquiring those institutions from trading systems that they've already worked with is hard. So we've really been making a push towards the retail side, and yeah, we definitely have more and more retail coming to us. But one of the biggest things to remember is that Haas is the most expensive bot on the market right now that's publicly available, and we know it. That's from just what we value, we see in our application, et cetera, and then our current customer base. So yeah, I guess to answer your question, yeah, we do have more retail coming to our software and finding profit in it.
All right, so let's jump into it. That's the background of the company. How does this thing work? You said that you're the most expensive bot or system on the market, and it's probably because it's the easiest to use. I haven't used Haas specifically. Let's say that I want to sign up, or I want to go to Haas online. I want to run this Haas bot. How does this work? If I go to the website, I'm sure I download some software. Can you walk me through 0 to 100?
Yeah, sure, of course. Well, here's one of the things. While we do strive to make Haas easy to use, and we have been getting better at it, it's by no means the easiest bot to use. It really, we like to say Haas, the HTS platform is what we call it internally, and what we're marketing wise is really, it's for traders who need to automate their current strategies, or they understand the current strategies that we have within the software enough to tune them to make them profitable, right? Haas is not a one-click solution. It's not I want to do arbitrage, click the arbitrage button and I make money. No, we are definitely not that. We are a platform for profitable traders to bring their manual trading strategies to an automated platform. Really, that's the key of it. And to get started, you would download our software. It all runs locally. We have no access to any of your keys, which is one of the biggest trends, I guess, within trading platforms is they're all cloud-based, they're online. All your keys are stored with them. There's significant security risks that occur when you allow someone else to have your API keys, even if withdrawal is not enabled, as we've seen multiple times on Binance. Exactly. enough accounts, and now you're buying, I don't know what coin it is for, 1,000 times its actual value, and someone's making a killing on the other side. But yeah, we're 100% on-prem, so we run on-premise, whatever VPS you want. You set it up. Keys are locally. The only thing we ever see is your license key activation to start the software, and then, of course, when you retrieve market data from us. But we don't even track that. All we know is that this user requested market data, and we don't even know what market data it is. Everything else is proprietary to the end user. The strategies they employ, the settings, all of that stays on their end. So once you have it set up, you're granted with this web interface that runs locally. And from there, you can either configure one of our pre-made strategies. We have, I think, 14 or so now. You can create your own strategies with kind of a selection of, okay, I want to use this indicator with these values, these insurances and safeties, and then suddenly I have a bot, right? And we can get into what those distinctions are. Or we have some of the newer stuff, which is for the more advanced traders. We have a full scripting language integrated, which we call Haas script. For anybody who's familiar with PineScript, it's based on Lua. HaasScript is also based on Lua. Okay. So the transition's very straightforward. And, then we just released our visual editor. So people who don't have programming experience, but are, they understand their algorithms or how algorithms are made, they can actually just drag and drop now individual pieces or components to build an entire trade strategy or trade bot to operate with.
Okay, so I guess even taking one step further back, because I'm picking all this up, but for those that are listening, when you say a trading bot or a trading algorithm, all these words get thrown around on Twitter. And I think sometimes they're really used just to make things more complex. In the end, the way that I think about it is it's almost like an if-then statement of if a condition is met, then this strategy can execute a trade. Or if this condition is met, it'll look for the next condition. You can go down as many iterations of how complex that needs to be. But is that what you would say most of your strategies are? It's looking for a certain condition, and then it executes? Or
it varies depending on it definitely varies depending on the strategy. So for example, one of our most popular and still is the Mad Hatter, which is a variation on the simple strategy from way back when, which uses the Bollinger Band, the RSI, and the MACD in combination with some unique conditions that fire, right? So if the Bollinger Band's doing XYZ and the RSI is in this position and MACD's doing this, then we do a buy or sell signal. Yep. And that's really all an algorithm is. It's a series of conditions that are met. And then once all of these are met, we'll either trigger a buy or sell, right? All right. That's the essence of any algorithm.
Yeah. So if I log into this platform, I know you only see my activation keys, but I'm saying for me on my side of things, let's say I can't code. I'm a little bit familiar with Lua, not good enough to code my own strategy. You have a drag and drop feature, but something like the simple, like could I figure that out? Or when you say it's not the easiest to use, but it's usable, like what is the threshold of how hard that would be to actually set up?
Yeah, sure. So I guess it comes down to just your ability. You can look at it as your abilities as a trader. If you are not a profitable trader already using a system that you're comfortable with, whether it's just simple moving averages or trend lines, whatever the case is, if you're not a profitable trader already, automated software is not going to make you a profitable trader. In fact, I think I said in the last on stage presentation I did was, we'll help you lose your money faster if that's what you're really going for. We promise nothing because it really depends on the individual's abilities as a trader. So let's say you are a profitable trader, you understand the indicators, you understand how all of it works together. When you come to our platform, there's obviously going to be a learning curve. However, we do our best to facilitate it, right? I mean, we're pretty much, we throw a bunch of tools at you and we say, you can pick one. You can use some strategies we have and understand it. You can create your own using this kind of selection system. Or if you really want to take full control over every aspect, you go to our visual editor. And really, you don't need any programming experience to do it, but you need to have some understanding of basic logic, like what is an if then, or, what's a while loop, or true or false, things like that. But really, it's gotten a lot easier to use our software, especially with the visual editor, but it still requires you to go through this kind of learning curve. And like I said, we have documentation, we're working on making it better. We have videos to kind of explain things, and our community is growing, right? Like I said, we've primarily been in the kind of investor hedge fund route. And as we're pulling on more retail, our community is growing, and the people who are knowledgeable in these different aspects are sticking around and, helping others figure it out as well.
That makes a lot of sense. What was the reception when you said, we'll help you lose your money faster? Did you get laughs? I hope it was some profitable traders in the audience, as well as some people that said, oh shit, that's not for me.
Yeah, no, we definitely, we got some laughs. I know some people were a bit taken back because I didn't sales pitch them, and I tend to try not to. Really, like I said, look, if you're going to use automated software, you need to know what you're getting into. You have a chance for losing a lot of money if you do something wrong. And, we as a company, we do our best to make sure our software does exactly what we say it does and what, you tell it to. But, in the end of the day, yeah, I got some laughs. I had some people who pulled me aside and said they couldn't believe I said it, or others that were happy I did. Thankfully, when it comes to Haas itself, really whatever, I'm allowed to say what I want to say. So that's always a benefit. I'm not constrained in any way to say one thing or another. So that's one of the requirements I have, of course.
I can respect.
Look, I say things.
I can respect the honesty. I really can. Let's dive into some of those strategies then that can help people lose money faster, or if they know what they're doing, right? If they know what they're doing, they can set themselves up to execute better and to kind of fine tune what the way they're approaching the market. What's the most, you brought up the Mad Hatter, what's the most picked or the most popular strategy that you've seen on the platform?
Yeah, so as it stands currently, Mad Hatter, I believe, is still our most profitable strategy, or not most profitable, excuse me, is our most
Most
used
popular. Yeah,
strategy.
yeah.
Yeah, it's the most popular strategy that people configure. It's easy to understand, and once you get a handle on it, you can kind of find settings. And there's a lot of people in our community, and including us, who just release tools to kind of brute force your way through it. So it gets to the point where I have compute time for hours. Why not just use that to find the settings that are profitable? And there's
Sure.
someone within our community, his name's Cosmos, who does a phenomenal job at doing this. Like his entire life has been the Mad Hatter bot. So if anybody's interested in picking his brain, you definitely can within our Discord. Aside from that, we also have a lot of popularity within our index bot. So, there's a lot of indexing services out there. I imagine you've talked to a few. We have our own take on how we manage an index, a Bitcoin, or not a Bitcoin, a token index, right?
Sure.
You could throw Bitcoin if you want in there, but just managing an overall portfolio. And then we have advanced features within that allows us to mix some of our other strategies, like our flash crash. So finally, the third most popular is our flash crash bot, which basically allows you to take advantage of those giant dips that occur out of nowhere, or really a flash crash that just flashes down. You fill a bunch of orders and you sell it up, and we have a bot that manages the entire process of making those orders, filling them, and then going back and forth and managing them. And then of course we got your standard stuff. We got a very basic market maker bot. We have some scalping strategies. We have a bot that allows you to draw trend lines. So if you're a trend line trainer, you can come to us, draw 2 lines, hit go, and the bot will manage all those trades within those 2 trend lines. And we're always looking at not only just improving the strategies we have, but coming up with new ones. But really, when you're coming up with trading strategies, it's not as easy as saying, okay, I'm gonna put these together and now I have a new bot. It's like, well, did it work? Yeah. And most of the time you find no, it doesn't. So really, while we are trying to increase our built-in strategies feature set, we are very very careful on what we release to the public, because we know individuals are going to try to rely on those solely. So
What's up, guys? Quick break in the action before we get back to the show. We still have a lot to cover. Hopefully you're enjoying it so far. I have a quick message from my amazing sponsor who makes this possible every single week, and that is eToro.com, the worldwide leader in social trading and the best place, if you're based in the US, for traders to buy and sell crypto. The most exciting feature on that platform, I'm sure you've heard about it, is their copy trader feature. To get set up and try out that copy trader, go to eToro.com, or if you want a free $50, use my link. That's eToro.com/VentureCoinist. It's right below this video, or if you're listening, it should be easy enough, eToro.com/VentureCoinist. You get a free $50 right away when you create your account and deposit. Once you log into your account, you're going to realize a few things. The first thing, there are more tools in this platform to manage your portfolio, see your performance, see what other traders are doing than any other platform. The other feature we're going to talk about right now, copy trader. How to do it. Once you're set up, go to copy trader, scroll through the top Bitcoin, ETH, XRP traders, and just hit copy. It is that simple. You can see their performance for the past few months. You can see what assets they're holding in their portfolio. You can see what style of trades they do. After you find a trader that you like, you can just hit copy. So going over to eToro.com/VentureCoinist, get that $50 right away when you sign up and deposit. Start copy trading today. And shoot a tweet at me if you find a trader on there that's doing really well that you want to copy. Maybe I'll throw some money at him too. We'll see. So enjoy that, guys. Check out eToro.com. eToro, thank you so much for sponsoring the show. Let's get back into it. Yeah, with the flash crash bot, I'm curious, is it constantly searching for that flash crash to happen, and then it's adding the bids and whatever it is, it just reacts that fast, or does it have you set up outside of a certain standard deviation? So it's having your bids, it's having very low buys, and it's having very high sells. Can you go into how that works? I'm pretty curious.
Yeah, sure, of course. So just like you said, I think the latter of what you said. So basically, we don't have any software right now that scans markets actively.
Yeah.
Because markets trade in different ways. I know we can say, oh, Ethereum's pegged to XYZ, whatever the case is, but there are times. Look at Doge versus BTC, right? There's instances like that where they trade differently. So scanning the market with a single trade system or algorithm and expecting settings to carry over is rather risky in our world, or at least in our eyes. But yeah, the flash crash, basically you'd pick a coin pair, and then you would set through, like you said, a deviation with some parameters. Are bots capable of moving based on certain values? So like, oh, if the price goes above this, I need you to move your trade range up, and then it'll manage the different orders, the buys and the sells within that range, right? It's really just designed to catch the quick flashes or the movement. And I know a lot of our customers, from what they've told me, is they'll just pick a bunch of coin pairs, set up flash crash spots, and wait, because generally the case is what goes down must go up and vice versa. So they will just wait for them to fill, don't panic, and then sell it in the end, right?
Yeah, it's interesting. What about the index? Crypto is a space where indexing isn't so popular. I think in large part it's because there's some problems with indexing in crypto. You have coins that can rise 500% and pop into maybe in the top 10 or top 20, and then they drop back out. And should you always be including them? Should you be rebalancing? So how does the indexing work? Is that mostly investors that are using that, and it's kind of a longer term thing? It's just rebalancing, or is it custom indexes? How does the index bot work?
Yeah. So yeah, we definitely allow anybody to generate a custom index, and we have the ability to generate indexes based on the top 20 or the top 50, right? But really, what we find is we a while back we added the introduction of what we call our advanced index bot that does quote unquote spider mode, and all it does is you get these giant indexes, right? You make 30, 40 coin indexes, and then you actually set up. We have the ability to set up individual small flash crash bots within all of those, and that's how you actually manage profit within the index. And then of course we have the rebalancing that also occurs, so you get to handle and catch these instances where these coins for whatever reason just skyrocket. Well, you're making money on the way up, and then when you rebalance, you buy it all the way back down, right? So yeah, we find that standard index, just normal indexing is profitable long term, but it's not going to get you the type of profits you expect in the crypto space, right? Standard investors are happy with 3 to 5% or 7% a year, where crypto guys are used to, well, yeah, I 100x, yesterday, and I'm looking 150 today, and of course, I'm talking about the leverage and margin guys, right? But yeah, what we find is a combination of the indexing bot along with our flash crash bot, which we turn together, really allow you to catch some of that movement. And yeah, people are very happy with it.
I don't know if people have been getting those 150x returns for a while, man. It's been a rough 2019 for the alt market, at least.
As long as you push short, right?
Yeah, exactly. Make sure to use that red button. No, but indexing is just one of those things that still hasn't caught on. Even with, it's just, I think after a while, regulatory, once that clarity clears up, maybe more index options will be available for investors. But that's pretty cool. You have the indexing bot. One of the other themes or features that just hasn't made its way into crypto, but it's very popular if you look at FX, if you look at CFDs, if you look at how retail trades a lot of markets around the world, just not crypto yet, is having these automated strategies on the actual trading platform and these exchanges. And I've talked to certain exchanges, are you guys going to implement this? And they say, oh, maybe, it's not what we're thinking about now, or it's a ways down the road, or we don't want to be responsible. And I'm always so curious, they're kind of tiptoeing the line anyways in terms of what they're doing regulatory-wise. I'm like, that doesn't seem like that much of a stretch. You're already out. Yeah. And I'm curious, are you working with any exchanges to implement? The only one that I know of is eToro. And full disclosure, they sponsor this show for everyone listening, but they have copy trading, so you can essentially kind of follow an automated strategy in a way. Have you worked with any exchanges, though, in implementing these strategies? I'd be so curious why someone like Binance hasn't done this, or why someone like BitMEX hasn't done this yet.
So we have had inquiries and conversations with certain exchanges, obviously nothing I can mention in detail, but one of the biggest problems I think people need to understand is crypto is still young, and that means the exchanges and the companies that are managing these exchanges are also extremely young. They're not NASDAQ, et cetera. They're not used to handling millions of trades a second. Look at any major Bitcoin movement, most exchanges go down, right? And that's the nature of the beast. Now, could you imagine that being escalated by them trying to run their own automated strategies on the same platform that just went down? And you start looking at that, maybe the exchanges just don't want to take on that liability, because what you would be saying is, yeah, your strategy will execute. Whereas if going the API route, it's like, well, the API servers are down, so we're not liable for your trade not going through. So now, while some exchanges are very nice about it, I know Deribit recently had a problem, and they're just like, fine, look, it was our fault. Everybody, your accounts get reset. That was, obviously I'm summarizing how that story went. Yeah. But some exchanges are willing to do that, and then you have other exchanges like good old BitMEX who are like, yeah, we're not sorry. Stuff happens, right? So there's just one of those cases where I don't think the exchanges either want to take on the liability, and from a technology standpoint, I don't think they're capable of doing it yet. where they're very far off from being able to manage trade strategies on the platform themselves and guaranteeing execution.
Yeah, that's. I guess I didn't think about that right off. Them just really not having the manpower or the. I mean, I know that they kind of don't want to. At least that's what they voiced to me. They just said they don't want the liability yet. But even if they did, now I'm realizing they probably, if they can't keep up with just executing manual orders, probably not enough bandwidth yet to include that
Exactly.
either. Wow, that's wild. One of the things I was going to ask about, I don't know if you can share this, but are you able to see how much volume goes through Haas, or how many retail users, or how many hedge fund users you have? I've always been curious how much of what's happening is algorithmic, is based on these bots, versus how much is still manual. Retail a lot of the time gets associated with kind of manual trades. Are you able to see that? Are you able to see what kind of volume goes through your system?
So actually, no. That's one of our key selling points is we don't even know how much volume's going. The only people who know would be the exchanges themselves.
Yeah.
Right. And certain exchanges we have relationships with where, they know it's Haas, but we don't want to know that information. We think that's still relative toward, or that's still proprietary information of our end user. So even though we are capable of asking for that information, we tend not to, because we need to respect our user base. And that's also something, you don't really get from cloud-based solutions, is they know everything. They know exactly what trades you're executing, when you traded them. One of the biggest concerns, that traditional markets face, and now crypto, hasn't been really considered, is what if you're being front-runned? That might be a term most crypto traders aren't familiar with, but if someone's able to execute a trade before yours because they know you want to buy at this and you've been profitable, there's nothing you can do about it by doing a cloud-based solution. So I can say we do, or in terms of our investors and hedge funds, we have partnerships with them. So we work with them directly to ensure that things are running correctly, or the feature sets they need exist. But in terms of volume, I couldn't tell you.
Okay. Well, that's I was hoping to get that number, but I'm actually happy that you can't see that. Back when tokens were coming online, I'm also curious about this potential customer segment. Back when there was a lot of tokens coming online, early 2018 and definitely in 2017, I know that ICOs and tokens coming online has slowed down quite a bit, but there were a lot of articles, I think, that shocked some people about there are companies set up specifically just to market make and certain, these new tokens, and then they have to hit a certain price floor. And I think people saw some of how predatory that can be. I'm curious, and not the predatory aspect, but I'm curious, were market making firms coming to you guys and saying, look, we need to use your bot to make sure that there's enough volume here, there's enough liquidity here? Was that a big part of your business in 2018? Did you work with any of those specific market making, ICO firms or ICO market makers?
Yeah, surprisingly, no. We actually, so like I said, the only people we have working relationships with is our kind of investors / hedge fund guys. Past that, we have market makers who use our software, and whatever they're using it for, that's all up to them. But
Sure.
In terms of relationships with ICOs specifically to ensure liquidity or volume, we've never had those relationships. I mean, we've also had people who are just like, hey, we're a new exchange, can you guys facilitate market making on our exchange? And we're like, well, we don't do that. That's a whole different business set, a whole different business, and it's different set of liability, right? Now, there has been exchanges where, they're like, we want to use your software to run, our exchange token and increase volume. We're like, well, yeah, that's just buy a license and go at it. We don't really facilitate it. So I don't know. I guess, no, we've never really had those relationships.
That makes sense. So they're the ones running the software anyways. You could provide them the framework to the solution, but at the end of the day, they have to make the market. It's not
Correct.
you. Yeah, it's not you taking the capital risk. I was curious with that. That was such a, that was a pretty massive market in 2018.
It really was. And we probably had customers who were doing that with our software. We just, we facilitate it. We give you the tools necessary to pull it off if you're smart enough to do it. And I know when it comes to market making, the strategies involved in that, let me put it this way, using our market maker bot will not facilitate that type of need. It would be a combination of built-in strategies and some external strategies to ensure that happens. Market making is a really huge beast, and hopefully no one gets the impression that it's a very simple, I just put some buys and sells.
Flip the switch and we're
put
good.
some buys and sells and I'm market making. It's like, well, no, not really. There's a lot that goes into it. I'm good friends with a really huge market maker, and you know what? He's tried to explain what he does to me, and he passed me too. So,
oh, that's funny, man. What what's the toughest part now going forward then for Haas? I know you want to dive into more of the retail. You have great relationships, it sounds like, with a lot of these hedge funds. You have exchanges that are probably coming to you and saying we want to implement the technology. As you look out in kind of the automated trading space in crypto, what are the challenges in that space? And then what are the challenges for Haas? What do you guys think about the most?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're like everybody else, and since we're 100% running on Bitcoin, we're always like, oh man, the Bitcoin price is moving, right? That's always number one concern, is always like, well, if this thing goes to zero, our company's gone. Now, I'm not saying we believe it will, but we're traders, and we're a company. So in terms of the ethos, et cetera, one of the biggest things people need to remember is that, these are businesses who are running these things. They're in it for profits, right? Whether some share the common crypto ethos, that's one thing. In terms of what we're really focused on, like you said, retail, we really, while we do have the institution side, we really want to capture that retail side. And, again, we are the most expensive software on the market. So we're trying to hopefully show that, while we are the most expensive, there's a reason, there's a premium that's paid for the functionality you get out of the box. And, so one of the big things we have is we're working on a V4, which will be, a competitor towards the other popular automated solutions out there. And while it will be cloud-based, we're doing certain things to ensure the security on that side. As I mentioned at the beginning of this, one of the biggest things is, the keys. How do you protect them? How do you ensure X, Y, Z? So a lot of thoughts going into just securing this and making sure we can facilitate that the same level, we can never assure the same level of security that one would have running everything locally. That's why V3 will always exist. But, as our push to get more towards the retail, we're really looking at how can we capture that? How can we make the tools necessary for, general retail traders to adopt and utilize our software in that way? So yeah, retail is always a big, how do we get there? How do we ensure that our end users like what we have developed for them? And then, of course, continue growth within the crypto space. With regulation coming down, I've always been pretty vocal about how I don't believe regulation is necessarily a bad thing. I think once it comes through, at least we know crypto's here to stay, and we know oh, it's gone, it's here, it's gone, it's here, it's gone, it's here, it disappears, right? Once somebody solidifies, all right, here's all the rules about it, then we can really continue and push forward and get that kind of, that guarantee that, it's here to stay. I know I'm probably angering a lot of the crypto evangelists right now saying that, but at the end of the day, we really need to, it's a cat and mouse game. How long are we going to survive?
Yeah.
But right now it looks great. Our outlooks are good. Aside from capturing retail, we're looking into the next year. Still profitable. Looking forward to seeing how the year goes.
Nice. And if there's one thing before we wrap up, what's the one thing that traders that are looking to get more info from you guys or want to learn more about the company? What's one last message you have for all them? Just head on over to Haas to check you out, or is Twitter where you're most active? Is there anything really exciting that's coming out they should be aware of? Anything like that, or any closing thoughts before we wrap?
Sure. So if you need to get a hold of us, our Discord's really the best place. I know we have a Telegram, but that's really just for us to direct people over to Discord. It's more managed. The community's hanging out there, etc. In terms of features, we recently released what we call Haas Labs. Now, Haas Labs is basically a feature set that allows you to brute force settings on any of your custom strategies or any of our built-in strategies. So one of the things that people tend to have a problem is we have an algorithm. We know it's profitable when it's tuned correctly for a market, but getting it there takes time. Well, we kind of added that functionality where it's like, fine, pick the algorithm, tell it which settings you want it to go through, and hit go, and it's just going to start back testing through all of our historic data that you tell it to, within a certain time period to find the optimum quote unquote settings. Now, there is the risk of overtuning, which again, another term I'm not sure retail traders are 100% on tune with, but basically your algorithm's so precisely tuned for specific market and specific movement that the moment it moves outside of that, it breaks, which tends to be the case for most backtesting. So you have to try to find that intermediate ground between overtuning and just good enough, right? So we facilitate that now. And then of course, look, if you guys haven't seen what HaasScript's capable of or what our visual editor is capable of, I really ask that you go check it out. I think you would be extremely surprised on its functionality, its flexibility. There's really nothing you can want to do that you can't do within our platform. So Yeah, I mean that's really it. If you're looking for some software that can do more, is more advanced than what you're using, please take a look. I know Black Friday's coming up, and we may or may not. I'm not allowed to fully say, but if you look at our history, we have every Black Friday done some sort of sell for our software, and our trials are always included in that. So
There you go. Well,
yeah.
Ronaldo, I'm glad we finally got to do this. I've wanted to have you guys on for quite a while. I'm very interested in automated strategies. I've been running a free tool on Twitter, which is automated, and it just tracks Bitcoin and Ethereum's movement. I've seen a ton of other bots do that that quickly pop up to 10, 15, 20,000 followers. So I know that there's interest. I think maybe there's a lack of understanding of what that even means. The word bot or algorithm is kind of scary for some people. So hopefully this clears up some things. Also, it's great to hear from a Bitcoin only company, which has been such a success story. So this was fun. Appreciate you coming on, and yeah, that's all we got. Thanks for coming on, man.
Awesome.
Have a good rest of the
thanks
week. Yeah, peace.
You as well.
Just popping up to say thank you so much for tuning into the show. I really do appreciate all of your attention. I don't take it for granted. You guys make the show worth doing. If you listen on iTunes or Spotify, or you watch here on YouTube, remember to hit subscribe. I used to never hit that button, but hit it because it will give you a notification when I have a new hedge fund or venture capital firm, or I have an analyst on where the market's going, or an exchange, so you understand what you're buying and selling. I don't want you to miss these conversations. So hit that subscribe button. And if you're feeling extra generous, want to get the word out, leave me a comment here on YouTube or drop a rating on iTunes. I cannot say thank you enough for those of you who do that. I really do appreciate it. Until next time, move slow, trade well, and I'll see you guys soon.